We are back, Fitness Profit Multiplier. Today, I'm going to be covering the strongest sales strategy that you could use to get more personal training clients in your gym. So, the goal is obviously to sell high ticket programs, right? You want to sell high ticket programs to personal training clients because obviously you want to make money in your gym. And we've talked about this in depth. Small group personal training is the key to scaling your personal training facility to new heights because it's not as premium as one-on-one, whereas one-on-one training people can't afford it because it's a lot of money, and it's way more scalable than 30 to 40 people in a room or large group training. So small group training is really where the meat and potatoes is because that is where you could really charge the most amount. It's the most scalable, it's way more scalable than one-on-one training is. And to be honest, it's probably the best of both worlds because it's a smaller environment, so people still get that community feel and that camaraderie working out together. And they also get that individualization just like you would in a one-on-one session. Like I said, plus it's the most scalable. So the strongest sales strategy that you could use to get more clients into the gym. So now you're getting all these leads in, so you do some Facebook ads or whatever, you just got a bunch of leads in. So how do you close these clients into this high ticket program that you're selling, $400 or $500 a month? What do you do to get them to close? Well, there's certain sales strategies that you're going to be utilizing. And this sales strategy is not really spoken about too much. But, the main thing is, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story. So let's say that we want to buy a camera to vlog, right? We want to become a YouTube person. So we want to buy a camera to vlog. So some of your criteria to have this camera is you want something that's handheld, right? Like your iPhone or something like that. Like you want a good camera that you can hold in your hand, take it with you everywhere, and doesn't require a lot of setup, right? So you head on over to Best Buy or whatever store, and you start talking to them. And you say, "Hey, listen, I want to become a YouTuber, so I need a camera for my YouTubes. So I just need a camera to film. I want something that's portable and easy to carry." So now the salesperson starts talking to you about, "Oh, well, we have this, and this camera that has 900 megapixels of this. And we have this camera that has this type of lens." And for those of you who are camera people, I'm sorry because I'm butchering this stuff. I don't know anything when it comes to cameras. But let's just say that that's all what they're talking about, all these different features and benefits, right? Oh, this camera has this type of zoom. This camera can do this camera can do that. And you're just sitting there like, like you're nodding because you're being polite because you want the camera and you're like, and you're listening and you're trying to understand, but you're not a camera person, so you don't get it either. And this is the same thing when it comes to selling training, right? Most people start talking about the features and benefits of the program. Mrs. Jones walks into the gym and Mrs. Jones says, "Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Perfect, Mrs. Jones. Well, this program is going to be perfect for you because we utilize periodization type training. You're going to be using barbells and dumbbells, and you're going to come into the gym. You're going to sweat when you come in. It's just all these things that don't matter when it comes to closing the sale." So there's two strategies that you need to incorporate when it comes to closing more sales. So the first one is listening to your prospect. What the hell does that mean? If Mrs. Jones comes in and Mrs. Jones tells you, "Hey, I want to lose 30 pounds," everything that you talk about in that conversation has to be about Mrs. Jones losing 30 pounds. Nothing else, because nothing else matters. Everything is she has to lose 30 pounds. So the programming is irrelevant. What you're doing nutrition-wise or whatever, it's not irrelevant. Now, it is irrelevant, right? When it comes to actually getting her the results, we know that, okay, we have to get someone on a nutrition plan. We have to get them weight training a couple times a week. But in Mrs. Jones' mind, she doesn't care about that. She just wants to lose 30 pounds. And according to her, she might be doing things now and not getting those results. So she might be on some type of meal plan right now, but still not getting there. So there's a missing link there. So you got to meet Mrs. Jones right where she is, right? So again, she wants to lose 30 pounds. Now it's your job to uncover more information about her losing that 30 pounds. What does that mean? What did she do in the past? What is she doing currently to try to lose that 30 pounds? That is the key. So many trainers and gym owners talk too much about their program. They talk too much about their program. They talk too much about, the X's and O's. None of that matters. Again, using that camera analogy, going into Best Buy, you just want the camera that's handheld that you could take with you that's going to shoot good quality. You don't care about any of that. You don't care how much storage it has. You don't care about this. You don't care about that. You don't care about the megapixels on the camera. You just want it to do what you have. And it comes to that age-old thing with, when you go to Home Depot, no one's really buying a drill. They're really just buying the hole. So it's the same kind of thing. Like Mrs. Jones just wants a solution to her problem. So the first thing with this strategy is you need to listen to the prospect and meet them right where they're at. That is the key starting off. Okay, that's first and foremost. The second thing is, especially on a phone call. So I don't know how you guys do sales. I'm not sure who's listening to this on the other end, but the way we typically do it is a lead comes into our ecosphere, whether it's through organic means, whether it's through a Facebook ad, whether it's through a website, or they call in, right? First step is they call in or whatever, we get their information, we get on the phone with them. That's the first thing, right? Then from the phone call, we go into an assessment. Our assessment happens to be on Zoom, where we sell them into the program, right? Yours may be an assessment in person. Doesn't matter. We just do like a two-step one. So we have a phone call and then we have right into the program, right? Okay, perfect. So the goal of that first meeting is to sell the second meeting. It's not to get them to buy training. Most people are under the impression that when they pick up the phone, they need to be selling training. Okay, Mrs. Jones is calling because she wants to lose 30 pounds. I have to sell her personal training. No, you're not selling her personal training. You're selling her the next step, which is coming in for the free assessment, evaluation, whatever you want to call it. That's what you're selling. You're on the phone. Then when she comes in, that's when you talk about like the program and the X's and O's. But you'll lose Mrs. Jones if you talk too much about the features of your program on the phone, as opposed to talking to her about her goals. So what I mean is, let's use a real life example, right? Mrs. Jones calls in, and you're like, hey, Mrs. Jones, how can I help you? Mrs. Jones says, I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, perfect, Mrs. Jones. What are you doing right now? Or even if, let's just say you are a horrible salesperson, you just said, okay, perfect. Well, our program can help you because we help other people lose 30 pounds. So what you're going to do is you're going to come into our facility, 3 to 4 times a week, okay? You're going to come in, you're going to lift weights, and you're going to be in a group with other people. And Mrs. Jones is sitting there like, oh my God, like I got to be in a group with other people. I never did this before. Or, oh my God, I can't lift weights. People come into these sales situations with preconceived notions of other things, right? So maybe Mrs. Jones has an injury, and the injury for her, she's like, wow, I don't know because my back hurts. And I know if I lift weights, my back is going to hurt. I don't know if this is the place for me. Incorrect. Okay. Mrs. Jones is not ready to buy personal training on the phone call. She's looking for more information. She's looking to find out what's next. So your job is just to get her to talk and see if you can help. And I know what you're probably thinking. Well, aren't they going to ask me for, details about the program? Yes, but it's your job to not give away all that information, because right now on the phone call, that stuff is not important. It becomes important during the next step, which is the assessment. And that's when you're going to kind of explain everything and go through the features when it comes up in the conversation. So like, for example, let's say Mrs. Jones says, well, what time is your schedule? Again, you could always say something to the effect of like, okay, well, what time are you looking to work out? I always like to revert the question back to them. And then they're like, okay, yeah, I could come in at 6 a.m. Okay, perfect. 6 a.m. works for us. We have openings at that time. But again, you're just relating the questions back to her. You're not talking about the features of your program because, again, remember, Mrs. Jones is nervous to lose this weight, right? She doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't know if she could trust you yet. So if you start spewing out, hey, you're going to do periodization type program, you're going to scare Mrs. Jones away. And we don't want that. We want Mrs. Jones to go from ice cold lead who doesn't know anything about you to, oh my God, I think this is the solution that I've been looking for. That's the goal. And that happens through that phone call by not giving away the features and benefits, but selling Mrs. Jones the fact that, hey, I can help you if you come in for the next step. And just getting her to talk about her problems and diagnosing what she has. and not going into too much detail. So let's just say, I'm trying to think of like some of the questions that people would ask that requires detail. So this came up the other day on our sales training, which we do a sales training for gyms. Is basically what we do. You can book your call in the link below, and we can talk to you all about that. But it came up the other day on a call where someone was talking and they asked, "Oh, are your trainers certified?" Now, again, that question is irrelevant. It's a relevant question, right? Like, it's an important question. And not every client asks that question because most people just assume, but it's a valid question. Somebody wants to know, are your trainers certified? So now, if you start talking about, yes, our trainers are NASM certified and they have the best certifications. They're also CSCS and they have the nutrition and this and that. Mrs. Jones is like, I don't even know what that means. So you have to take the question, answer it, and redirect it back to them, get them back on the sales line. Remember, the phone call portion of it is a straight line, right? You have to go from point A, they call in, to point B, they book their appointment. So if they start asking questions like that, they start going off into Pluto, right? They start saying things that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the trainers are not certified to get them results. I mean, yes, it does, but you guys know what I mean, right? Like, that question is irrelevant to help Mrs. Jones lose that 30 pounds. So a correct way to answer that question would be, yep, all of our trainers are nationally accredited personal trainers. They all go through an internship process. Here at the gym, it takes them 12 weeks to become onboarding as a trainer. So we're all well versed to helping you lose that 30 pounds, Mrs. Jones. So tell me, what are you doing right now to try to lose that 30 pounds? So I answered the question, and then I looped it back down to the line to move her over to close. So this is what I'm saying. This is the strongest sales strategy that you could use. You got to listen to what Mrs. Jones is saying, and you can't spill the beans on the program because it doesn't matter at this stage. When they pick up the phone, your job is just to find out more about them and invite them into the next step. And on the next step, that's when you kind of explain how it works. But again, I could even go into detail on that, how that's not even important to go into exactly what they're going to be doing because they just want the hole, right? They don't want the screwdriver, they want the hole. And in our case before, like I used the example, they want the camera to vlog. They don't want all the X's and O's of the camera. So it's the same thing. Even when they come in, your goal, everything that Mrs. Jones says to you is based on what her goal is. So if she wants to lose 30 pounds, hey, Ms. Jones, what are you doing right now nutrition-wise to help you lose 30 pounds? Oh, I've done keto. Okay, how did that work for you to lose 30 pounds? Did you lose it? No. Okay, why didn't it work for you? Again, it's just constant rapport building and finding out why it didn't work. Almost like a doctor does. Like a doctor, you go into a doctor's office, okay, how long have you had the pain for? What were you doing when you noticed the pain? When does it hurt when you have the pain? Does it hurt more in the morning or at night? You see, like the doctor kind of uncovers these questions. The doctor's not talking about the medicine he's going to give you. The doctor's just figuring out what's wrong. And you're doing the same thing. So listen to your prospect, okay? Listen. Stop talking and listen and ask and uncover every question that you need to know about your prospect. And stop selling the features. Mrs. Jones doesn't care if she's going to do cardio in your facility, if she's going to do weight training, if she gets an app, if she gets nutrition coaching, if she's going to be low carb, high carb, none of that matters. And because I can guarantee when you start talking about those features, you're going to get questions that are irrelevant to the sale. So for example, let's say I start talking about nutrition to Mrs. Jones. Okay, Mrs. Jones, we're going to put you on a meal plan. Oh, does the meal plan have broccoli on it? Because I don't like broccoli. We all know as trainers and nutritionists that they don't have to eat broccoli to lose weight, right? They can have other things. But now it's an objection that was put in Mrs. Jones' mind that, oh my God, I got to follow a meal plan. It might have broccoli on it. I'm not going to do it. Do you have a copy of this meal plan so I can see it? That's like the next question. Then it's your job to uncover and get them back on the line. Because now if she's asking you for, hey, can I see the meal plan? Because I don't know if it's going to be something I'm going to follow. She's coming off that line. And again, that line is from assessment to sale now at this point. If she's in the meeting, she's coming off that line. So your job is just to say, well, and again, you would put this in for your gym, but what we would say is, well, your plan is custom to you. I really don't have an example one to show you at this point. But what the main thing is, we're going to teach you how to eat long-term. It's going to be a guide. It's going to tell you exactly what to do here, here, here. And this is what's going to help you to lose that 30 pounds, Mrs. Jones. But let me ask you, when was the last time you followed a structured meal plan? So I took that question, I answered it, and I dragged it back down to the line to move the sale forward. So that's what you need to do. So that's the strongest strategy that you could use. Hopefully that helped you guys today to not sell the features of the program and actually to listen to your prospect to get more high ticket sales into your gym. If you guys have any questions about this, you guys know what to do. Click those links below. Make sure you follow this show. And if you're looking to improve your sales and scale your sales team in your gym, just click that link below, book your call. And until next time, Anthony, Fitness Profit Multiplier. I'll catch you on the next one.